Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Level Up Cleveland. And this week we have with us a couple of the guys from Ataraxis.
What up?
They are a local band. Actually, they reside over by the Akron-Canton area. That's where they come from, but excited to have them in here. I have with me bass player Zaine Swan.
Welcome.
And we also have one of the founding members and lead guitar player. The guitar player. I mean, there's only one of you, right?
Yep.
And that is Steven Sowards.
How's it going?
So it basically, if people have been following this band for a long time, they're already familiar with you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been since the inception. Like, I used to be the drummer of the band for our first record. I mentioned in the bio the guy even before the first practice quitting, but yeah, that's what it ended up. That's what ended up happening, and basically,
His loss, though.
I mean, it is what it is. But after he ended up quitting, and then I was like, "Fuck it, let's become the guitar player and the lead songwriter." So here we are now.
So he quit before the practices even started.
Yeah. Well, it was just more or less he didn't really believe in the project.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
So then what happens? So then you guys start writing this first album? Is that what happened?
Well,
or did you guys start with demos? How did you guys start off?
So actually, what had happened was, holy shit, this fucking headset. But what had ended up happening.
He's losing the man bun already.
Hey, shut up.
When you guys wrote Bread and Butter, that's your first song,
Yeah.
right? So you guys write that. What are you listening to then? What are you into? Like what do you think you're pulling your influences from in something?
Well,
like
actually,
I can answer this one for you.
What?
It is nothing but Nirvana and the Beatles.
well, actually, no.
That's all he listens to now.
Well,
too.
actually, that's our new material. Back then, I was listening to the American Idiot album, and that really inspired me for our first record, and especially Bread and Butter.
So how do you start this whole thing to begin with? You said you played drums. You started with that. Now you're playing guitar. You do vocals. So how do you? Where did you begin? Where does it all start? How do you start? As far as what's your first thing? Drums?
When it comes to like songwriting.
No, I mean in general, just music. The first time you picked up an instrument.
Really? Well, actually, I was more. I mean, I've had my guitar since I was like 8, so I've been always messing around with it. But after I got introduced to Nirvana by my dad, actually, I really started getting into like rock music because at the time, Zane's gonna make fun of me for this, but at the time, I actually wanted to be a musician all of my life, and I was too afraid to do rock because I didn't think it would be really that popular because at least in my high school, rap was like the big thing.
Yeah, right.
So
hip hop.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, let's try to do a couple hip hop records. They didn't do so well. I got largely made fun of, and then I was like, all right, let's do the rock.
Yeah, and then that worked. And so the rock thing you started to find your place there.
Yeah, really.
So then you pick up the guitar. I mean, drums eventually here. I mean, you start playing the drums eventually. How does that happen?
Well, I originally wanted to be the guitar player and stuff, but I could not find a drummer. Like drummers are few and far between. So I was willing to make that sacrifice.
But how do you just make that sacrifice? You just like pray to God, and all of a sudden you can play the drums.
Well, I wish it worked that way. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the greatest drummer, but I figure as long as
pick on him for that.
Yeah, I figure why just wait? Because so many people are just like, oh, should I do this? It's kind of a risk.
Just go for it yourself.
Yeah, well, I just kind of have more of a like, if you want to do it, I'm going to pursue it. And, this is what I want to really do. So, I'm going to be making that sacrifice to pick up a drum set or, watch YouTube videos or, take lessons or whatever.
You said your dad was one that got you into Nirvana.
Yeah.
Does he encourage all this also? Is he a big influence as far as encouraging?
Oh, yeah. Actually, he was a really big influence for me. He really helped me form my career. And, he was the one who bought me my first guitar. He was the one that bought me my first drum set. So that really means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And that really shows how much he cared. And unfortunately, he passed away about 6 months ago. And it just makes it bittersweet because I love what I do, but it's just sad that he's not here to, hear me play, especially because ever since
Steve, personally, I've seen a really awesome influence that his dad had over his life in getting into music. I never really met him except twice in passing, but I definitely see that just in what he's done for you over the years and how you.
It's like a motivating factor too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's cool, man. It's cool that you have that still with you, and you had that with your dad because, that's something that you're going to have now through your writing process now
Exactly.
too. You're going to be able to pull different.
And it helps me with grieving and all the anxieties and paranoias and all the troubles. I'm able to express that in a healthy way because I know so many people can't express their emotions.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. And so do you find that the writing is real good therapeutic type medicine for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like
we talk about that all the time, how all of us actually need to play periodically just because it helps our physical and mental state. Like just getting out there and playing.
Yeah, you hear every guy who comes in here tells us, especially the original bands like you guys, they have to write, they have to get it out of them. They have this thing. It's like a disease, like they got to get rid of this stuff. You know what I mean? You guys feel the same way?
Oh, for sure.
But it's not necessarily in a bad way.
No, in a good way. It would be bad if you didn't have the ability to express it.
Right.
So do you find like right now you're in a highly, are you right now writing a lot more than usual?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like you guys got a really good thing going right now?
I mean, shoot, we've been coming up with we just released our last, most recent single, that released like a week ago, actually.
That is the name of it. Just.
Yeah, you guys like to do that, right? You guys have one called Burr, right?
Yeah,
BRR.
Yeah,
that one's.
We just like making it sounds for our records.
That's really.
We try to really be out there and, in a way, inspire. And we've talked a couple of times about how we've seen our band inspire other bands and actually influence the music scene in places that we've played.
That's cool.
I just find that so insane, And I just look at Zaine and I'm just like, man, how far has this band's really become? And really in the past, ever since really the beginning of the year, like our band's really been, boosting in Spotify numbers and people coming to shows and stuff like that.
Excellent, man. So when did you guys first start playing gigs? When was it? How long ago do you go back when you start? Because the one thing about you guys is you had a lot of turnaround for a while. So to get to the point where you're at now, and that's not that happens. You got to go through sometimes a certain number of people to find the right ones to get that band together.
Yeah,
that's going to really take you to where you want to go. And that's what you got. Do you feel like right now you have that band in place? Are you feeling pretty good about the three guys?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, compared to like other lineups in the past that I've had, this lineup of me on guitar and vocals, Zaine on bass, and Al on drums is we're like a unit, and we have really good chemistry. And even if we didn't even do music, we'd still be friends. Like me and Zaine hang out literally all the time.
We joke about it being a family.
Yeah.
We refer to him as being our son. I'm the dad, and Al, our drummer, is the stepdad.
It's because
we have a whole story.
Is that why? Is there a big age gap between all you guys?
Well, I'm 20, and both Al and Zaine are like
27.
Ooh, you guys are old, man.
Yeah, we're both 27.
Yeah, I call them the boomers.
Yeah, so you're only 20 years old. So how old are you when this all starts?
I was 16.
Wow. Well, that changes.
I was still in high school when this band. I was a junior. when this band first came about.
Do you ever write anything? Do you come to the table with music ever and show?
So we have a different writing style for each song, but for a lot of them, I put together a bass line, and I either find where I can fit it to something he writes, or I just bring it to him and then get it stuck in his head, and then he writes something on top of it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's what happened with Kurt. Was he came with that and you know what the weird thing is? I didn't really like it at first, and we kept demoing it, and then one day at practice he just starts playing it, and then Al just comes in, and then literally we write the song on the spot. Like we didn't take any time to really, like, when we have our writing lyrics on the go, that's literally we're not exaggerating. We literally wrote the song in a day.
Well, that's and like
For a lot of our music.
Yeah.
well that's sometimes you'll labor over a song, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
you think you got a good riff or you think you got a good something, but you're just not able to figure something out. You're like, yeah. So you kind of put that one on the back burner for a little bit, but you always go back to it, try to figure it out. And those songs never end up being the best songs. It's always that one like you're talking about. It's the one that you just kind of like, boom, the idea comes, you go in there, you knock it out, you write some quick lyrics for it. You're like, it seems rushed, but all of a sudden it all comes together. You play it for some people, and they're like, oh, this is really good.
And that's exactly what happened with Going for a Drive. Like that obviously now Kurt's our number one song on Spotify, but Going for a Drive was a long time our number one song. And we wrote it in an hour with our old drummer, Adam. And at first, I thought it was just kind of a filler song for the record. I thought Bert and Knife of Affection and those kind of songs would be more the driving forces of the album. But in the end, really, the two biggest songs off of Aster Antidote, our last record, is Pent Up Anger and Going for a Drive, which relatively we wrote in a short time.
No kidding. So how many albums do you guys have total?
So, let's see. So we have 3 records that, like I said, are the demo records.
Okay.
And
each one of those is just a single?
No. Stargazing.
Those are just so Stargaze. So that's considered a demo. Too.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I got you.
That's the demo record. Stargazing has like 5 tracks. The second demo record that I actually took down, Reflection, has like 10 tracks. And then the third one, Introspection, was the record right before Zaine, and that has like 6 or 7 tracks. And then Aster Antidote, which is an actual record, studio record, we have 10 tracks. And then our next record, Zero Gravity, is going to be 10 tracks as well.
You were saying before that you kind of like you were kind of like started off, you were doing like the hip hop thing and all that.
Yeah.
And trust me, it's common. There's a lot of great metal bands that. Anthrax was all into the hip hop thing when they first came out.
Yeah,
they were huge into it. So it's not like it's taboo. It's nothing wrong with that.
It's not really a taboo. It's just more of like an inside joke.
Yeah, no, I get it. Trust me.
It's so
no, we get it. We get it. But I'm just saying, as time has progressed, it's obvious that there is no taboos anymore.
Yeah.
Like you can take, for instance, right? You were just saying before that you're going to actually incorporate recorder into a song, and you guys are pretty heavy. So what I'm trying to figure out is how you incorporate recorder into a song. And believe me, there's a lot of people who could look at that and go, "Well, that's crazy, right?" But you're doing it because there are no taboos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. How does that idea come about, and how do you even pull it off? How do you do that?
So, you might have to remind me on some of this. If I recall, I just one day brought my recorder to a practice.
Well, basically, what had happened is, fuck it, I'll tell it. So for our new record, we have this new song called Grand Wizard, and basically, I wanted to make like kind of like a trippy psychedelic rock kind of thing, and I wanted like some kind of flute thing. And I was like, Zaine, you got any like flutes or, any tubas or anything you can use? I was like, and he just looks down. He's like, he looks around. He's like, I got my recorder, and I'm like, okay. And then we go to practice, and then he just whips up the tune, and I'm blown away because
I remember now. So I ended up. He was playing just a riff kind of similar to the song we ended up with, and I put the recorder up to a mic that I had run through a effects processor, so it had like a heavy synth kind of sound.
Oh, so it does. You are running it through something though. It's not just straight recording into a microphone.
Originally, we did.
Oh.
And we did, like, we compiled a whole song out of that, and we used a bunch of different, like, clips of sound for, like, a weird breakdown in the middle of it.
Well, that's going to be on the record, but
Yeah.
for live,
For live, we went a totally different route, though, and just do straight recorder. And we've actually gotten a lot of compliments about it sounding really well together.
No kidding.
Yeah.
for no reason. It's
You know
crazy.
what seems kind of odd to me though. I remember playing the recorder, hot cross buns, back in school, right? And it takes a lot of you can't blow hard into that thing, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems to me like you guys are, when you're up on stage, I remember being up on stage, the adrenaline's blowing through me, man. I'm like, ready to go.
It is hard to contain.
How do you play the recorder on a rock stage and be like, you're like,
and that's exactly how it goes.
How do you manage
Because he literally,
that?
what he does is, and then I just go back into the guitar riff, and then he does that.
I was reading your bio where, you guys were putting together tours. You tour semi-locally, regionally, I guess you would call it, like regional tours. But I mean, still, that's more than a lot of people do. Did you finance those yourselves, or did you guys?
Largely.
Yep.
Really? That's kind of pricey, right? I mean, that doesn't.
I mean, with gas prices,
well, today it would be very different.
I mean,
last year was great. The $2 a gallon gas was.
Really? but I mean, like, when I say finance it, I mean, you guys got to put yourselves up, or are you guys sleeping in cars? What are you doing?
I mean, we literally slept at the rest stop in Michigan for our last tour.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, last year, before we actually released Astral Antidote, we did a 1 week straight tour where we traveled out of state, all around, and largely we slept in my car. We did get a hotel room a couple of times.
In Chicago, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried to book a tour this time around for like almost every weekend we would be somewhere, and largely honestly that's been working out really good for us, Zaine.
Yeah, you filled up like my entire next 3 months worth of weekends, and if my work decides I have to work a Saturday, oh well to them.
That's the way it is, man. So one thing I do notice is that there's you. You're like the main guy.
Yeah,
now, right. Because you're the only one that's remained. There's a lot of guys that just come, gone. Do you feel like they couldn't play with you anymore? Like I said, you seem like a nice guy. You seem like a likable dude, nice guy. I wondered, because as I'm reading your bio, I'm like, is there something wrong with this guy? Like, am I going to find out that this guy's hard to deal with or something? But you're not at all. So what do you think it was?
Mostly it was commitment, because I like I was talking with Zaine actually before we were coming up, I'm really an intense person when it comes to like the band. Like, I want to do tours, I want to do albums, and some people just flat out can't keep up because, you want to work and do soccer or do whatever they did. And I'm still friends with all the people that have been in the band.
Oh, okay.
So it's not anything bad, but it's just more or less they couldn't keep up with the commitment.
I see. So you just have that attitude with this band where it's just, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Right? I mean, that's pretty much where you're at.
Yeah.
You don't sit back. Do you ever sit back and think about what you've already done? Because you guys have done quite a bit. I mean, like, when I'm thinking,
him.
What's that?
Yeah.
Make him stop and think about it.
Do you sometimes?
Yeah, I get a little carried away, and then he's like, "Hey, okay, Steve, let's look back and see what we can do with what we got already."
Well, so how do you do that? Do you get ideas that come to you, and then you record a bunch of ideas, and then you guys bring your ideas to like a practice, and then say, "Hey, I got all this stuff." Then you guys try to manifest stuff from that. Is that, or are you jamming?
I mean that's pretty accurate. Like, I come up with, I'd say, like 10 or so riffs or whatever at home, and then from those I would pick the one that I like, and then I would write some lyrics and get like a general foundation, and then I would take it to Al and Zaine. I'll be like, here you go. And then I trust Zaine and Al to be good enough musicians to come up with a really good part. And I mean, obviously Zaine is like one of actually the best bass player in our band. So,
well, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah.
So
Out of 3, right?
yeah, yeah.
So we were talking a little bit before. We were talking about you guys wrote a song and you guys put recorder in it. And when we say recorder, I mean people need to understand what we're talking about. The recorder that you guys would get, anybody that went to school, pretty much anybody that went to school, was issued a recorder. You had to buy them usually.
Yep.
And then you would have this recorder, show them what it looks like.
He still
everybody
kept.
can remember.
This is the original from 5th
That's
grade.
a school. That's a school issued. Like
He brought the recorder. So what we thought we would do today, and I just want to tell you guys, this is a premiere for our show. 29 episodes or some, 30 episodes. I don't even know what episodes. 30-something, a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
No one's ever played music live in the set. 0 guitars, none of it.
I'll do it like
You're going to be the first one. It's recorder. It's fitting.
You want to give him a little demo of Grand Wizard to practice?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
The Grand
what I
Wizard
have
is
to-
the name of the song that you put the recorder in.
Yep.
This is classic. This is a classic moment on Level Up Cleveland. We're going to have this right now. So, can you play us a little bit from maybe what you did on the song, so we can kind of like see a little solo part of it, or do you have like any solos like that are already written, like a guitar solo, like Jimi Hendrix type stuff?
Well, I do, but you've mentioned it so many times now that I just have to.
Okay.
Are you gonna play Grand? Are we gonna do it a cappella?
Dude,
Oh, why didn't you play Grand Wizard?
dude, wait a minute. That was a classic moment right now. Listen, Hot Cross Buns has been mentioned 3 episodes now. This is not the first. This is the 3rd episode, and we actually now have music to go with it now.
3rd time's a charm.
I'm wondering if there's people out there that didn't even know what that song was. I don't think anyone doesn't know that song. But if they don't now,
If you've never taken a music class or anything, which I could see there being people that maybe missed out on that year. Or
sick. They got
their
really
school
sick.
didn't
and
Or
offer
didn't
it
care enough.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe. But it was like forced down your throat.
Oh,
yeah.
let me. It's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
funny. Yeah. Back when I was in grade school, well, it was funny because I didn't really care about music at that time. So what I would do, I know it's kind of contradicting, but I would just literally just pretend to play and just not even
Like
do
lip
any-
sync almost.
Oh
like
yeah, oh
lip
yeah.
record.
Oh yeah. And also I was in 6th grade choir. I did that for a year, and really that was my first time on stage actually singing, and I got so scared, man. And I was like rocking back and forth, man. It was like, oh god, it's the spelling bee again, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, you know. And now it's like nothing to go on stage. I really love going on.
Oh
stage.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to change the subject, because I want to come back to that real quick. But as being somebody that's actually played the recorder, you have a really good style. I got to tell you, it was very smooth. Your notes they're crisp. They were nice, right, Pat? Did you notice that too? There was no like flubbing. Because let's be honest, if I remember the recorder properly, the recorder was back when those were all like 2nd and 3rd graders when we were playing it then. So it was like,
it's like-
yeah, that's what they sounded like. But I want to hear you play something, maybe a little something that you did from the record or something like you do. Can you do a little something from that?
So.
In the woods, all alone. Then I see a mountain. I see a magic man. Ask him what's your name. Ta-da.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
Excellent, dude. Never.
And that's with a rock beat behind it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure this isn't. Otherwise, there's gonna be like a snake coming out of a basket or something. Excellent, man. That was great. Thanks for playing that. It's awesome, man. Now, what about personality wise? I mean, you two guys seem like you get along well. Al's a good fit.
Oh yeah, I mean, he always tells me I'm fired, but like I said earlier, outside of band, we all hang out and we're friends, and I think that really helps with our like live performances because that chemistry brings in. That's some bands, you know, it's just Joe Smo and you know the Crickets or whatever playing, and they don't really have good chemistry, and then when we come on, we have really good chemistry.
Steve's drive with this and wanting to take it to the next level just so consistently.
I come over to his house.
Is that what kind of like drew you to the project itself?
Yeah.
Was his commitment? So you think that? I see that. So what are your influences though? What's some of the stuff that you draw from?
So I actually played tuba professionally for 3 years.
Get out of here.
Yes.
He's dad for a reason.
I did a lot of music stuff growing up. I've always been really big into music.
What kind of music were you playing tuba with? A band?
Orchestral. I played for the Mansfield Symphony Orchestra.
Get the hell out of here. That's so cool, man.
I played with the Musicians Union, a bunch of different groups, like honors bands all across the state. A lot of musicians throughout Ohio would at least recognize me.
No kidding. That's awesome, dude.
I did bring the bass.
Yeah. Now, the recorder was good. Well, maybe next time you come down, you can play the bass for us. A lot of walking around. Hold on, I got to catch my breath for a second.
Yeah, it feels good to sit down. Been walking all day. All right. Excessive recorder fee.
No, it's not excessive.
You're
allowed to bring the recorder. You can even play the recorder in the background for us while we're talking to each other. I would have no
problem
with that.
What is this, a fucking spa?
Yeah, a spa. Have you ever considered doing that? I mean, think about with your tuba thing.
Zaine.
You could do that like on the side for extra money. People will do the craziest shit for money if you're a musician.
Actually,
spa.
When I was young, we did do a thing kind of like that. Me and my best friend.
What do you mean by that? And who are you doing it for?
We were like 15 at the time, and we just wanted to get some money. I couldn't even tell you what for, but we decided to just take our saxophones and go stand out in front of the local supermarket and just play with a case open. And we ended up making like almost $200 just that day.
Why didn't you tell me this? We can totally do that. Man.
So wait.
We have a really good dynamic. So I'm more of a field player, so to speak. Like, I'm not too technical, but I like some technicality because I know that some players have the stigma, oh, I can't learn theory, I can't do anything, I have to be all creative. I think if you have a good foundation of music theory, then you can kind of branch off. But basically what I do is I basically have a feel, and then he's more the technical side, and then it just kind of blends together.
Nice.
I like kind of utilizing that he doesn't know a lot of the technicality to it, because his ear and his opinion gives me more of a perspective of the average listener.
Okay, I got you.
The average listener doesn't have all that technical ear. So basically, when he plays and I come up with something to it, I kind of wait for him to give me an approval on
a reaction.
Something.
You try to find the reaction that gives,
because then I can put the technical that I know to use trying to get a reaction. But once I get it, I know then that that's the direction I need to go with it. Now, that's what's going to get a reaction.
Well, for Pent Up Anger, we use that song a lot for our closer, and then towards the end, I can get a little rowdy and just move around stage and go on the floor and roll around.
Do you do that? Do you spin on the floor?
Yeah, he does.
Are you kidding me? I would pay just to see that.
I just jump.
He's
I
hilarious.
jump off of the monitors, and well, I mean, I try to be respectful, but
In which way? What do you mean by respectful? It's a rock and roll fucking show.
well, like
He
I mean,
doesn't break
like yeah, because I can't afford that shit.
Oh, you can't be. You can't Pete Townsend.
Yeah. So I'll be like, here's a little disclaimer. I mean, I'll get on the monitors or whatever, and then they'll be like, all right, don't break anything. And then when it's getting to that part, I'm just like, oh shit, am I gonna fucking break this? And then it ended up working out. McAlpine meter is actually. I was telling Zaine, I tell Zaine everything, but McAlpine meter was actually for the past 3 tours in a row. We've had that for some reason is the first show always was at the McAlpine Meadery. I mean, that was my first show on my first tour, and it was just like overwhelming. And now it's just really good to go back there and play again because the venue is really improved because there used to be no stage or anything. Now there's a full-blown stage, and it's really cool because the people are so nice that they actually. So from our first tour, we printed off like 10 posters. There's still one of those posters on that wall, and I don't know where the rest are.
Well, it don't matter. Just the one is all that you need, right?
Yep.
So you guys are going to be playing out again more in the future,
Right.
I want people to know to look out for you guys. Do you have a website or just a Facebook page, basically? Right now,
Facebook and Instagram. Right now, we're working on developing a website. Actually, we're trying to get that so we can sell merchandise because
yes,
I've been asked so many times. Hey, do you have a T-shirt? Do you have a wristband? Do you have a I don't know, like a hat or
We
something?
really haven't done anything.
do you guys have any merch? Have you got any merch yet?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of T-shirts in design right now. I mean, we're looking at different.
So you're starting to do that too, yeah.
Well, and it's the big problem is the financing part of it.
Well, that's usually that's going to be the biggest one usually of all these things,
And-
getting the money.
Yeah, and for the time being, we've been more focusing on getting into the studios to record our music, and also for tours to save up for hotels, gas, and whatnot. So we've kind of been putting that on the back burner, but now that actually the band's starting to pay for itself, so we'll be able to introduce that.
So we guys got a new album coming out. I want to mention that one more time.
Yep.
What's it called?
Zero Gravity.
So people should be out and look out for that. That should be out like end of the year, probably.
I'm gonna say like as of right now, late October, early November.
Oh, that's soon. So that's cool. Be on the lookout for that. And what's the last one you guys just put out?
Excuse me, Astro Antidote.
Astro Anecdote. They can check that out on
Anywhere.
you can just get it.
Apple
MySpace.
Music,
It's all over the place. All right.
YouTube.
That's it. That's all we got time for, guys. I'm
Thank you
really
very
happy
much.
you guys came down and hung out with
Thanks
us.
for having
This
us.
was a super cool, excellent, informative interview. Honestly, I had a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
All right. That's it for
All
us and the guys from Ataraxis.
Pieces.
We are out.
Peace.
That'll be fine.